AI is that much more powerful when it has access to the full journey of a candidate and employee. Transparently, as a standalone recruiting vendor, I'm only limited by the candidate data I receive, and I lose visibility as soon as those people get hired.
That's what brought us to Rebecca Carr and SmartRecruiters. We took I'd say a thorough assessment of the entire talent acquisition market, and we found the number one player. Essentially, the better the data you have, the more you can drive these results, ultimately more autonomously with agents.
Winston has lots of jobs. And so we actually encourage our customers to go, okay, here's Winston. Start with just this job and use Winston for this job every single solitary day.
Hey everyone, this is Bob Pulver from Elevate Your AIQ, broadcasting live from HR Tech 2025. The expo just opened. We are here in the HR Executive Studio, so if this does make it out live, come by and check us out. I am fortunate to have two special guests. Rebecca Carr, why don't you just give us a quick intro about your background?
Sure. Rebecca Carr, CEO of SmartRecruiters. I've been in the HR tech space, I think, going on 17 years now, largely in product management. I think this is the third applicant tracking system that I've worked on. So JobVite, Branch Out back in the day, if you remember that one.
Yep.
SmartRecruiters, just really passionate about solving recruiting tech problems. And I've made a career out of it, I guess.
Awesome. And Dan Beck from SAP SuccessFactors. Tell us a little bit about you and your background. What got you to where you are?
Yeah, good to see you. Dan Beck, I'm the General Manager and Chief Product Officer at SAP SuccessFactors. I've been there a little over a year and a half, thanks. I, similar to Rebecca, long time in the HR tech space, companies like Workday for a decade, and my own company in the contingent labor space called Utmost that I sold in 2022 to Beeline.
Yeah.
And grateful to be here. Similar to Rebecca, it's fun to innovate and serve people. So fun to talk about that today with you.
Excellent. Yeah, no, I'm glad to have you both. And on the innovation topic, I guess that's one of the areas I definitely wanted to dig into. Just seems like you're both passionate about, personally and professionally about innovation. And so I wonder if that, as you look at how to sort of integrate, where it makes sense to integrate, like how you think about, bringing the best of both worlds into that space. And just, I don't know, maybe you could start by like what brought you together? Whose idea was this?
I'll let Dan start with that one then. Whose idea?
Well, we saw an opportunity to serve our customers more in the talent acquisition space. We have a recruiting product today with many customers, and we were seeing that there was a series of gaps on things we wanted to do to move more quickly in the market. And it's a super critical market for our customers, $8+ billion annually spent. It's the front of your talent pipeline. So how you get candidates into your firm, and it's moving and changing very rapidly. And so we made a decision that we wanted to serve our customers more rapidly. We didn't want to be in the middle of the pack. We wanted to serve our customers better than that. And so that's what brought us to Rebecca Carr and SmartRecruiters. We took I'd say a thorough assessment of the entire talent acquisition market, and we found the number one player and SmartRecruiters and Rebecca.
Awesome.
Yeah. I mean, I've focused on the recruiting tech problem for a long time in best of breed. And as a core workflow, it can stand alone quite well and can integrate into core HR. But I think in this new world, where AI is sort of the biggest theme, like on this floor today.
Yep.
And AI is that much more powerful when it has access to the full journey of a candidate and employee through their work history and experience working within an organization or across organizations. And transparently, as a standalone recruiting vendor, I'm only limited by the candidate data I receive, and I lose visibility as soon as those people get hired. So when Dan approached me and started chatting about this potential acquisition and integration, I thought, what an incredible opportunity to lead with a market leader in core HR, to get access to some of that data and innovation, to bring that to the recruiting lifecycle and connect it all together for some of the world's largest companies. As a product leader, that's an amazing outcome, and one that, frankly, my engineering and R&D team is really excited about solving. So, aside from the fact that that product story is very compelling, I'll just be honest, like the SuccessFactors team has been just so collaborative and so kind. And from a cultural standpoint, there's a really good fit with our organizations. We believe in solving the same problems, and we're both honestly customer obsessed. That was probably the first thing that half of my R&D team said. They said, you know what? Every time they talk to us, they talk about a customer story, a customer success, something that they want to do for their customers. And you don't hear that all the time, especially at the leadership level. So that was encouraging.
Yeah,
Got us
for sure.
excited. Yeah.
Yeah, very exciting. I think what you were talking about, Rebecca, in terms of the getting better visibility across the talent lifecycle is tremendously valuable. So obviously you care about, candidate experience, recruiter experience, employee experience, but the analytics underneath that to know how, what knobs and levers and sliders to move around to make the necessary adjustments in real time, to really understand the full, quality of the hiring pipeline, quality of hire, all these metrics can be unlocked. And then the question becomes, do we need to change, incentives? Do we need to start tracking new metrics? Do we need to have some incentives that cross, TA and talent management, et cetera, to say, look, we're all after the same things, and here's how we're going to track against this. So it's not necessarily about ownership; it's about like a shared sort of responsibility in some ways. So do you guys, sure you guys have had a lot of discussions about how this is all going to get integrated. You both have these product, backgrounds. Are you finding yourselves in agreement about most of this?
Well, we're just getting started.
Sure.
We closed on Thursday. Up until that point, we couldn't plan.
Tentative. Yep, got it.
We joked a lot about that, but we actually couldn't. And we had I think our first real deep dive session yesterday, and started to talk about it. But not just on the talent management side, but I also think like on the workforce planning side, when you think about a platform as broad and vast as SAP, where you have business metrics and real-time results and performance that's there, that data alone could inform exactly who and where and what skills you need to be bringing into your organization, and immediately connect to a recruiting and sourcing workflow at the top of the funnel, even beyond sort of what happens once you find somebody. There's some really cool things to be done, and that feedback loop is one that I think will bring a lot of success to our customers over time.
Yeah. Anything you would add to that?
Yeah, no, I think that also Rebecca's got it exactly. We think the world's coming alive to the idea of having a more robust data plane fed into an AI layer. So if you think about what your AI is able to do, how can it serve you? How can it further a candidate experience? Even on the topic of skills, certainly there's a balance between bringing new skills into your organization. Okay, cue SmartRecruiters, or reskilling, upskilling. Okay, cue, say, SuccessFactors learning. And so having that data to feed into the entire talent lifecycle is a really compelling opportunity. And we think of it as essentially the better the data you have, the more you can drive these results, ultimately more autonomously with agents. And it's not just across the SuccessFactors suite, though we're really proud of our full suite of offerings, payroll, time, core HR, learning, you name it, but also across the entire SAP suite. So one of the questions we get often is, what am I paying for skills? What's the cost of labor? Do I have the right mix of full-time employees versus contingent? These are logical kind of inflection points where I think SAP can serve our customers more with the intersection of, say, finance data, HR data, the intersection of HR data with, what we call SAP field blast data, contingent labor data. So there's a huge opportunity there. And I think it'll pay big dividends. And I feel like we had kindred spirits in Rebecca's vision for the future of talent acquisition and what we saw happening in this world of agents.
Yeah, no, that's excellent. One of the points you made, Rebecca, I think is really important around like workforce planning And I've argued maybe we should call it work planning because I was trying not to anthropomorphize, the agents, but regardless of what you name it, I think it really elevates the importance of talent intelligence and people analytics and pulling those things together and then looking across, your entire talent ecosystem, where you actually go and do outbound sourcing, and where can you find, hidden talent with great potential that is getting overlooked, candidate rediscovery, all kinds of things. And so Dan, I was curious about like your experiences at Most and then Beeline as you think about extended workforce and things like that. I was curious how you think about that as you think about like a product roadmap.
Yeah, it's a compelling space. Approaching, I mean, over half the U.S. working population is some category of non-employed, right? And they're doing a whole host of projects, and you see different industry vagaries where you'll have a relatively higher percent of, say, non-employees in oil and gas or, just different industries. And so the idea of having that workforce lens, how you can have a complete picture of that from an analytic perspective and then make choices, how you mobilize talent, how you get work done. It's kind of wide open. I mean, it's almost like a parallel work stream to all the use cases that you'd see in a typical employment cycle. It's just for non-employees. So you bring it together in our world, SAP's world, that would mean SuccessFactors plus SAP Fieldglass. But the common theme would be better use of data, understanding skills. Like very commonly, like I was out in Texas 3 weeks ago, some key oil and gas clients. Many of their workers are non-employees. All of those workers need to be certified to do the work they're doing.
Yeah.
They're on rigs, they're on barges, they're doing heavy equipment work. All that needs to be certified. Also true for extraction, mining, you name it.
Yep.
So that's a logical intersection of kind of workforce meets learning in this.
Yep. Okay, cool. So Winston, how do we see Winston like being integrated with like your Gen AI hub and maybe, for use internally? I don't know if Winston, is it used internally at SmartRecruiters or it's really, yeah.
Yeah.
So, so I was just curious how we see that particular, innovation sort of flowing over to the mothership.
Still a fair bit of planning
Yeah.
to do as we like develop the use cases by which like our agent will speak to what SuccessFactors has already built. I think one of the things that I love about Winston is that he is intentionally in the flow of work in an effort to collect data at a faster clip from users that aren't used to using big business applications on the back end. So if there's one hope I have for Winston or versions of Winston or whatever that becomes over the next many months and years, it is that it will adapt and be much more personalized to the types of employees that Dan is describing. When you've got folks that are sitting out there in the field that are trying to learn or be certified or apply to a job internally or externally, right now, I think one of the challenges they have is they're met with this massive roadblock of this huge application. And we've developed this companion or character that's very approachable and relatable and that candidates love and adapts to your tone and style and can answer questions and feels very lifelike in the way that you engage with it. And as a result, you see better engagement, you see better data, you see better insight. The feedback loop sort of connects back together. So I'm sure and I'm hopeful that that will be something that obviously we continue to thread through as we partner in the future.
Yeah. I mean, if you haven't seen it, it's a delightful product. Absolutely in the flow of work, not just direct interaction with Winston, providing feedback from Microsoft Teams and other well-known applications.
Okay.
So, for the avoidance of any confusion, we're going to anchor all of our talent acquisition efforts around Rebecca and her leadership, and we're going to put more investment into it so we can accelerate that roadmap with Winston, and of course, bring it into line with some of the other SAP investments. We have massive investments in business AI, massive investments in data. So of course, we want to leverage that to serve our customers.
Excellent. One last question I had for you guys was around like AI literacy and readiness. It seems like your teams, I know you have a significant AI team already on the SAP SuccessFactors side, and then SmartRecruiters being almost like an AI native kind of company. It's sort of part of the culture. I guess as I think about it, and I see that people are still struggling to move past, individual productivity, really just glorified automation, that kind of thing. It seems like leaning into the innovation is crucial to get people really thinking about what's possible and to get involved in thinking about these higher value use cases. Like we're just scratching the surface. So how do you guys think about that when you communicate with your teams?
Yeah, I mean, my team is obviously gone all in on this motion because they're bringing that to our customers. But I think the one thing that we found in partnering with our customers on this journey is that it's extremely overwhelming to just say like, hey, here's an AI agent that's just going to do everything. The trust is not there, and change is hard. If you think about every single administrative piece of a recruiting workflow, every single one of those things is a behavior, a routine that a recruiter or hiring manager brings to the way that they use systems. And so a lot of what we've done is Winston itself is our agent here, our hero. But Winston has lots of jobs. And so we actually encourage our customers to go, okay, here's Winston. Start with just this job and use Winston for this job every single solitary day and get comfortable with that. And then as you build the habit and the trust, now add the next job. And we do the same thing internally. Like we rolled out a ton of AI products as a result of us leaning into the Winston journey. And we were very intentional every single week. Pre-sales team, every time you need to do this, every time, and then build upon that slowly. And I think when you break it up and piecemeal it out, people start to become more experimental because as they build that trust, they want to go a click deeper and that like internal curiosity builds. And so we've been trying to build that into the way that we roll out Winston. We design with our customers new implementation journeys and our own internal journey around AI productivity and bringing that to the workplace.
Awesome.
I mean, there's just never been a more exciting time in HR tech. The advent of these increasingly powerful AI tools brought to these key workflows. And we just attended the keynote with Nicole from IBM, the CHRO of IBM, and she said, don't automate a mess, right? Like you need to know your processes. And this is what's so great about SmartRecruiters, a very thoughtful, elegant, you could say, candidate experience. So it's a great application of Winston to bring a better experience to that. But to your question, we have a very heterogeneous landscape of skills with respect to AI.
Yeah.
And we're just trying to make it more approachable. I think personifying AI like Winston makes it immediately more approachable. But I talk all the times with my engineers about falling in love with solving customer problems, not pushing our products. And so, but we have a growing number of tangible, approachable use cases, customers in the real world using AI in production that then kind of ups the bar. And so I'll give you one example, Bob. We've got a customer, Standard Chartered Bank. It's a straight up the middle performance management use case, performance, generative AI for performance goal creation, et cetera.
Okay.
Live in 3.5 months, 85,000 employees, 50 countries. And so the message to other customers is, if a highly regulated 150 plus year old bank can get into production in 3.5 months, you can too. It's a fantastic team, but certainly that gives people confidence that they can too. And so I think Winston will be an absolute huge asset on that journey.
Excellent. Sounds great. Well, I wish you both the best of luck with the
Thank you.
all the planning, and congrats again. Thank you so much for being here. This is great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thanks everyone.